Hi, my name is Amir Shafri from Wina, Singapore. I'm part of the ADFEST bus team, and we're very privileged to have with us the Direct Lotus jury president, Mr. Sonal Dabral himself. Now, Sonal is the chairman and chief creative officer of DDB Mudra India, and outside of advertising, he's done a lot of wonderful things. He's acted alongside Shahrukh Khan. He has hosted his own TV show, and he's a very good blackjack player.
Thank you very much for a wonderful introduction.
Yeah, and you judged the Direct Lotus category, and you've seen some really brave work and some not so brave work. So what do you think separates brave work from the rest?
Brave work from the rest, it's simple. I mean, when you look at that piece of work, the first thing that occurs to you is how were they able to pull it off, whoever did it. And you feel envious, you feel jealous, and something inside you tells you that maybe tomorrow when I go back to office, I should try something like that. So, or maybe whether I'll be able to do it or not do it. So brave work always forges new ground. It breaks boundaries, and to put it simply, which I said earlier, what differentiates brave work from normal, ordinary work is that thing when you look at it, you feel you've seen something absolutely new.
It's not just connecting to an audience, but sometimes, to make a good idea happen, you also have to connect to your client. So what are some of the craziest things you've done to sell an idea to a client?
Few things like, climbing on the window at times to say that if you don't buy it, I'm going to jump out of it. I did it with some clients that I knew really well. But besides that, things like, okay, if you're not going to buy, okay, I had a client and there was a film script that I had, which I really loved. And I had a client really lovely client. But that brand never did anything without researching, which is fine. I mean, that was their modus operandi for every film. But I knew that if this script goes into research, it's going to get killed.
Right.
So what I did is to call up favors, haath jod ke, as they say in Hindi. Pair pakad ke, touch people's feet, haath jod ke. I somehow got that film made, right? Directed it myself. And then one day landed up at the client's office and said, see, I told you I'm not going to research it. So here's the film.
It's very brave.
That, and there have been, I'm not saying Machiavellian, but the important thing, I think, is to, when you stop seeing a client as a client, but you see that person as a member of your team. It's not that you are the agency or the other person is the client. When you truly become a team, then selling in itself becomes easier, because you start to read each other's minds, you start to connect on a kind of a human level rather than a transactional level. And then you together do something which is the best for the brand.
Right.
So,
and you've connected with clients not just in India, but also in Malaysia and Singapore. I mean, although you started your career in India, you've worked in Singapore, you worked in Malaysia, and you helped agencies become #1 over there before returning back to India, which is a really impressive feat. Now, how do you think your time outside of India has influenced you as a creative leader when you return in India?
One thing that I never tire of telling to any of my juniors or colleagues or whoever, or even any student of advertising is that for any creative person, forget whether it's advertising or you're in fine arts or filmmaking, or for any creative person, it's absolutely essential to be curious. Curiosity is one trait that you just cannot do without. And by that, what I mean is that our learning, our training for advertising thinking or for creative thinking doesn't happen sitting in an office or doesn't happen from books. It happens by observing, it happens by observing human behavior, it happens by being curious about how do people live, what do they do, how is this guy different from that guy, how are people different, how are cultures different. Now, so from that point of view, that's why I've always wanted to delve in as many things as possible. I wanted to explore things, you know, whether it was television hosting, writing, anything that came my way. Every time I got an opportunity, I kind of embraced it for this simple reason.
Right. You know, so now we talked a lot about your experiences outside of India, but your experiences outside of advertising as well has made you a really rich person, and it's probably because of your curiosity as well. I mean, we talked about how you've been a TV host, you've acted along Bollywood legends, you sing, you write for Bollywood. You're a very good blackjack player also, I hear, so I wouldn't want to play blackjack with you. And I hear you're quite a whiskey connoisseur as well. So how has all these aspects of your life outside of advertising influenced your life in advertising?
As I was saying earlier about this whole curiosity and experiences, that the fact that you cannot learn anything by sitting in, you know, okay, let me put it differently, which is, one other thing that I keep telling, that I truly believe in, is that you can become possibly the world's greatest surgeon by operating or by being inside an operation theater for 10, 15 years, working under, let's say, the best surgeon in the world and learning from him. And, you know, and 15 years later, you come out of that operation theater and you would be a really, really fine surgeon. You know, you can assume that. That's not true in advertising. I cannot be sitting inside an advertising agency doing briefs after one brief after the other, and, you know, looking at advertising books and looking at past ads and, you know, trying to create advertising. Cannot. The learning for any creative person, right? Any person whose job is to move people, to communicate with people, has to happen outside of your office, outside of the agency. You're learning. You put it back into your trade when you come back to office, but the learnings happen outside. And that's something that, besides the fact that I'm inherently a curious person, and I like doing as many things as possible, that's what drove me into acting or directing or television hosting. Or now, simple thing like, you know, when I used to be a television host on Indian TV, I used to record live in front of 500 to 1,000 audience, you know, 3-4 shows a day. Now, the jokes that I'm telling them or anecdotes that I'm telling them, I'm seeing them right in front of me move to every single word that I'm saying. Sometimes a joke is falling flat. Sometimes the dramatic pause that I'm bringing in, right, is suddenly making them sit up and look at me. And all that, what is that? That's communication. So that's teaching me how to go back to office and write a script. Tomorrow I might be writing a script for, let's say, a pressure cooker, you know. But all that learning at some point in time, 100% comes in handy, you know. Blackjack, for example. I mean, it's a funny one, but you know that cards will be dealt to you. You won't have any control over those cards, you know, so you don't know what cards life deal you. But in any given situation, you should have the presence of mind or the patience to say, I've got these cards, the second person or the dealer has got those cards, right? Now I have to make a decision. Life has dealt me those cards. Now I have to make a decision whether I should ask for one more card, whether I should hold, whether I should stay, or whether I should hit. It also teaches you at what point in time you should walk away from the table. You know, so it's not just about advertising. I mean, everything teaches you something about something.
Experience is the best teacher, as you say.
Totally. Totally.
And all right, so we thought of ending an interview with, you know, do you think we could have the privilege of having you sing a few lines from a Bollywood song?
There's a funny one. I've never sung a Bollywood song in an interview. I've done it on stage in advertising presentations, but
I've heard you've
Which
done
one?
it for taxi drivers as well.
Yeah,
You sang Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, was
Kuch
it?
Kuch Hota Hai, yeah. So this was in Malaysia, where I just landed in Malaysia. I was obviously away from India for the first time in my life, working in a totally new country, and I got into this cab. And the person looks at me from the mirror and says, India?
Yeah.
So I said, yeah. Then he says, Shahrukh Khan? So I said, yeah, Shahrukh Khan. Yeah. So he said, yeah, I like, basically meant that he knows that Shahrukh Khan is from India, not that I was Shahrukh Khan. And
although you acted alongside him.
although I did act alongside. So, and I said, you know, yeah, Shahrukh is a friend, you know, I worked with him. So, oh really? Yeah, and all that. So I said, should I sing you a song, right?
Yeah.
And he refused to take money from me. So I said, this is a good deal, you know. So that second part was a joke, although he refused to take money from me. But the fact that, you know, little things connect you to people, you know, that was beautiful. So these are some of the things that immediately makes you feel at home, you know, in a place. So the lines that I sung to him were, this film is famous everywhere. Definitely, everybody talks about it in Malaysia.
Yeah, I grew up watching it.
Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
Yes.
So Shahrukh's song was this. तुम पास आए यूं मुस्कुराए तुमने न जाने क्या सपने दिखाए अब तो मेरा दिल जागे न सोता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है क्या करूँ हाय कुछ कुछ होता है.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I hope I sang in the tune.
Oh my goodness. It brought me back to my...
Last few days have been...
It brought me back to my childhood. I grew up watching a lot of Shahrukh's films as well. That's wonderful. Such a privilege to have you. Thank you for coming on with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Real pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And
thank you all.
Thank you all
thank you
for
all.
staying tuned. And remember, do you have any thoughts about Sonal's interview? You can share your thoughts on Twitter or Instagram. You can follow us at @FestBuzz on Twitter as well as @Fest on Instagram. And don't forget to use the hashtag BBAT as well as @Fest2015 and share your comments with all of us. Thank you very much.